Hey guys, how's it going? This is the Bald Metal Nerd coming at you with a really quick video. Obviously, you know what this is going to be about because you already read the title. Basically, I'm going to be covering some audio formats that, one, I'm never going to do separate videos on some of these, ever, right? But as I get towards the end, I'm going to talk about an audio format I might eventually do video on it. I'm going to explain why I'm going to skip each one of these and basically just talk very briefly about them. Obviously, here on the screen, we're looking at 8-track players. An 8-track is the first format I'm going to talk about. Obviously, it was a pretty successful format for a while. It was in a lot of cars. Obviously, there were a fair amount of home units for it. But, you know, and at first, it had better sound quality, I think, when it debuted than compact cassette did, or regular cassette. But as time went along, obviously, that changed. Cassette caught up and, I believe, exceeded 8-track in sound quality, and cassettes just became the standard instead of 8-tracks. And 8-tracks came and went really before any memories of mine. I think my parents may have owned 2 or 3 8-track tapes that I can remember at all, period. I really didn't have a whole lot of contact with 8-track growing up because by the time I was growing up, it was already a thing of the past. And audio quality wise, there's not really any advantage over cassette for 8-track. So for me, it's really not worth pursuing at all. I'm not going to buy an 8-track player and 8 tracks and it's a completely pointless exercise for me. So there you go. That's the first audio format that's never going to get its own video on my channel. We're going to follow that up with L cassette. And basically what L cassette was very, if I don't hover over stuff, it was very much an audiophile oriented format that was basically supposed to take, you know, the sound quality of reel-to-reel and, you know, make it into a convenient style thing, like, you know, similar to a regular cassette. And the reason I'll never experience L cassette as well, if you look at the costs here of the players, $700, nearly $690, you know, close to $700. Wow, $1,700. You see the issue here, right? And I know eBay's expensive. I might be able to find it cheaper somewhere else, but I don't think... Let's see what a blank costs. Just for fun. Wow, $53 for one tape. Yeah, oh, 32. Oh, well, you know. That's, wow, 925. Whew, whew, whew. Yeah, that's a very pricey hobby and one that I'm probably not going to get into. And the next one, that's basically the same for the same reason, is reel-to-reel. It is obviously a bit more affordable than L cassette, but it's still, there's no way that one worked for $20. I highly doubt that works. And it's, so we're looking at, you know, a couple $100 for a deck. It looks like that one looks nice. I wonder if it actually works. Let's take a look here. See detailed description. Okay, seems to play rewind, but may need additional. Oh, basically they don't guarantee that it works. Whatever. So, and I know that reel-to-reel is basically going to be, just for lack of a better term, a superior version of cassette, just like L cassette would be, but it's still going to be analog tape-ish, for lack of a better term, right? So I already have a cassette deck, so I don't really see the need to dive into reel-to-reel. The expense just, I don't think is going to be worth it to me to, basically dub off digital, all the recordings I listen to are pretty much digital anyway, and I don't think I want to spend hundreds of dollars to make tapes of digital recordings. It just seems a little silly to me, but there you go. So anyway, the next format I'll probably never cover is MiniDisc, and this one isn't because of price so much as you can get I think I saw a working one on here for like, oh heck, this one's only 40 bucks. It probably works. Let's see here. Let's see. Let's use okay, but it's fully operational. Okay, so that means it works. $40 is obviously not a bad price for a vintage piece of hi-fi equipment, but MiniDisc, as you know, of course, we're now over to digital formats versus analog formats, and all MiniDisc is basically is a digital format that records at less than CD quality, right? So I don't really see any point whatsoever in me ever getting a digital format that records at less than CD quality, because if I want to listen to that, all I have to do is encode a CD at less than 320 kilobits MP3. If I encode, say, at 160 or 192 MP3, well, then I'm going to get a very similar sound to a MiniDisc, so I can't really see any good reason at all to go down the rabbit hole of MiniDisc. And so that's pretty much it on that one. The next one, we're going to talk about digital audio tape. Basically, or DAT. And if I were to get into that, again, it's just going to sound identical to a CD. Because DAT is capable of recording at 44 1/16-bit or 48 kilohertz, and it just would sound identical to a CD, but it would be on a tape. I don't see a point to that, because the whole point, in my opinion, of different audio formats is to basically get different, for lack of a better term, different audio properties. That's why you would want to listen to vinyl or cassette over digital, is because it sounds different. There's no point really in listening to yet another digital format that's going to sound identical. And and then of course we're going to jump over to the next one, is DCC, or digital compact cassette. Same thing as DAT. It's going to sound identical to a CD, and who cares? It sounds the same. It's just on a tape. No real point in pursuing that. So now we're going to jump over to a physical high-res format, which is Super Audio CD. And it looks like we got one here that'll do Super Audio CD, but it looks like it was also a DVD player, and that's how you're going to get somewhat affordable ones. 60 bucks, whatever. I would consider getting something maybe that would play a Super Audio CD if there were a whole bunch of titles I was like really interested in Super Audio CD, but I've just very quickly looked here, and yeah, there's some decent classic rock, but nothing is jumping out at me like I must have this. And some of it's pretty expensive, as you can see. Whatever, I don't get it. There you go. So, and I was also looking on Amazon, and again, nothing was like leaping out at me saying you have to have this. But I am curious. Let's just type, see if Black Sabbath has any SACD. Probably not. Nope, that's just a regular CD. Let's try one that has a surround mix, which is really the only reason you'd want to listen to that format, in my opinion. And I'm not sure what it costs, but it doesn't appear to be on Amazon. So that's the issue with Super Audio CD. There's just not a ton of material out there for it that I'm particularly interested in. So I don't see a whole lot of value in exploring that format. And I'm certainly not going to me, the only reason that it would be worth exploring Super Audio CD in the first place is because of the surround mixes with the music. For just stereo, it's not going to really sound any better than the CD. I've done plenty of videos on the past of high-res audio and how I think it's basically completely unnecessary. And it doesn't sound any better than a standard CD, in my opinion. But it might be worth exploring for the surround aspects, because obviously you don't get true 5.1 sound out of an audio CD. But again, it's hard to find the program material, blah, 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 right? So we move on to DVD audio. That's another format I'm never going to cover. And the reason for that is DVD audio, to get the true DVD audio sound, it does not just, you would think something called DVD audio would work in all DVD players. That is not the case for some reason, which is a little strange. You would think if they had wanted this to catch on, they would have made it, to where it would have to play in every DVD player that exists, but that is definitely not the case. So yeah, DVD audio is, I'm sorry, to be fully compatible. Like, certain things will play in any DVD player, but not everything. It's a really bizarre cross matrix of what will and won't work, and it's just, for me, too complicated to try to figure out, and it's not worth it for me to try to track down a specific DVD audio player, because there are less titles available for DVD audio than there are even for Super Audio CDs. So now we're going to talk about a format I might eventually cover in the future. I don't know. We're still quite a bit away before I would ever do that. And we are, of course, talking about Blu-ray disc high fidelity pure audio. What a mouthful that is. Again, the whole high-res part I really could not care less about, but the surround aspect I am interested in, right? Same reason I would have been interested in the Super Audio CD. So I may check that out at some point, because this is basically the modern equivalent of DVD audio and Super Audio CD. But the beauty of this is it is compatible with all Blu-ray players, so I don't have to get a special player to fully take advantage of this. It will play in any Blu-ray player in existence. So there you go. And it's because it says right here, compatible with existing Blu-ray players. Yay! Right. So hooray. And I was looking here at the titles. At least I just did an extremely fast search, and I did find a few things I wouldn't mind checking out. Again, I don't know if these have any sort of surround capabilities to them. I found at least 2 titles. Let's see. I'll just do a search for bands that are likely to have this, if there is such a thing. That's a concert. That's not like an audio thing. So no, not the biggest metal band on earth does not have a Blu-ray audio disc. That's not a good sign. Again, this is a big maybe. Okay, so let's see here. What about Iron Maiden? Nope. Wow. Okay. Let's try Pink Floyd. Because Pink Floyd is, Dark Side of the Moon. There's supposedly a surround mix of this. Let's see. There is such a thing here. Well, let's just type. I'll type the specific album. I don't know. I guess if I could find program material for it, I might check it out. Because obviously I do have a Blu-ray player that I could utilize this on. It's the But I'm not sure if I'm going to dive into this or not, because it's going to depend if I can find program material worth paying for on it. That's a big if. So anyway, that pretty much wraps this up. This was just a real quick one. I'd really like to hear in the comments below what you think of any of these formats that I covered in this video. I'd like to hear your opinions on why you think they should be covered or not. Why you think, if you listen to any of these, I'd be really interested to hear why, what your experience is with them, all that kind of stuff. As always, if you like this, thumbs up. If you hate me, thumbs down. Share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you guys next time.